18 months into retirement, and there are things I'd do very differently. Not regrets exactly, but moments I'd handle better if I had my time again. Because this is the part no one really talks about. The emotional shift, the identity change, that slightly messy middle between working life and whatever comes next. And one of these in particular caught me completely off guard. Hi, I'm Angela. Welcome to Two Homes, One Life, where I share what early retirement actually feels like, living between Wales and Spain. Today, I'm sharing 11 things I genuinely wish I'd done differently after retiring. Not as rules, just reflections. So if you're nearing retirement, newly retired, or even years into it, this might just help you feel a little more prepared, or a little less alone. So let's get into it. The first thing, I wish I'd marked the moment properly. I worked for 40 years and then just stopped. No real ending, no pause, no moment to say, that mattered. And surprisingly, it didn't feel freeing. It felt unfinished. We talk so much about starting retirement, but not about ending a working life. If I could do it again, I'd slow that moment right down. Even something simple, just to acknowledge it. Because endings deserve that. And this leads into the second thing. I rushed it. I retired just before Christmas, which sounds lovely, but it meant everything got blurred together. No proper wind down, no space to process it. And retirement isn't something you want to rush into. Looking back, I would have given myself a buffer, a gentler transition between one life and the next. Now, this one, I think a lot of people will recognise. We bought a house in Spain, but almost on autopilot, because it felt like the thing you do when you retire. And it's been lovely, don't get me wrong, but I never really stopped to ask, is this actually my dream, or just the one I've absorbed over time? Because retirement has a funny way of making big decisions feel urgent. But if I could go back, I'd sit with them that little bit longer. So, point number 4. This next one surprised me. I hadn't realised how much of my identity was tied to my work. Not just what I did, but how I structured my day, how I saw myself, even how I introduced myself to people. And then suddenly, all of that disappeared. No one really prepares you for that. If I could do it again, I'd spend more time asking, who am I now? And who do I want to become? And that brings me to point number 5. Something else I wish I'd done sooner is reconnect with friendships. Work quietly takes up so much space, and without realising it, some relationships drift. Not because they don't matter, but because life gets busy. Retirement gives you time back. I just wished I'd used it earlier to reach out, instead of assuming things would naturally fall back into place. This one is a bit of a reality check. I wish I'd taken exercise more seriously. I walk a lot, we have a dog, which is great, but it's not enough on its own. Strength, balance and mobility, those things matter more as we get older. And retirement is a long game. If I could tell my past self one thing here, it would be, don't wait until something hurts. Point number 7. This one caught me completely off guard. mental gap. Work had been quietly feeding my brain for years, problem solving, learning, creating. And when that stopped, there was a real sense of something missing. I wish I'd anticipated that. Not to stay busy for the sake of it, but to stay stimulated. Because rest is wonderful, but so is feeling engaged. Point number 8, something I didn't expect. How quickly some work friendships faded. People I genuinely cared about. And suddenly, without that shared environment, we just drifted. And in fact, some disappeared altogether. And I wish I'd been more intentional about keeping those connections, because some of them were really worth holding on to. And this leads me to something a bit more emotional. I wish I hadn't taken that personally, because some people do drift away, not out of unkindness, just because your shared chapter has ended. And once I accepted that, it felt much lighter, because not everyone is meant to stay forever. If there's one thing I'd prioritise earlier, it's this: health. Not in a dramatic way, just in the small, consistent habits of eating well, moving more, looking after yourself properly. Because retirement isn't just about having time, it's about feeling well enough to enjoy it. And finally, point number 11, decluttering. Not just physical things, but mental clutter too. Letting go of things you just don't need anymore. The expectations, the old stories, even identities. There's something incredibly freeing about it. I just wish I'd started that sooner. The biggest thing I've learned? Retirement isn't a moment. It's a process. And I'm still very much in it. There's no perfect way to do this. Only your way. But I'd genuinely love to hear from you. If you're retired, what's something that surprised you? Something nobody warned you about? Let me know in the comments. I read every single one. And if this is something you're exploring right now, you might really enjoy the video where I talk about what those early months of retirement actually felt like. I'll link it here. If this resonated, do give it a like and subscribe if you'd like more honest reflections like this. So all that's left for me to say is thank you for watching, and I'll see you again soon.